All right, everyone, welcome to the webinar from Varnish Software. Today, we're going to talk to you about how you can prepare your website for Black Friday and Cyber Monday and generate more revenue for your business. My name is Elise. I'm going to be hosting today's session. I'm a key account director here at Varnish. I am joined by Ish, a solutions engineer here, who will talk us through how to provide the best customer experience and improve website performance during this critical period. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Today's session will be recorded and distributed afterwards if you'd like to come back and take a look. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or use the Q&A section. We will get to those at the end of the session. A quick walkthrough of the agenda. These are the items we're going to be covering today. Getting ready for the shopping season, what are core web vitals, what is Varnish, improve bounce and conversion rates, support excellent experiences on any device, and manage traffic spikes and security risks. So first, a quick note about who we are. Varnish Software delivers enterprise software based on popular open source Varnish Cache, which is used by over 9 million websites, including 22% of the world's top 10,000 sites. Varnish is tailor-made for web acceleration, built from the ground up with speed in mind. But it also contains a bunch of tools you can use at the edge of your networks to make sure your user experience is optimized. This comes in handy in many ways, such as being able to cache personalized content like shopping cart information and assembling web pages dynamically. Here you see a few of the e-commerce organizations that rely on Varnish to accelerate their web services and ensure online store reliability. So we're here to talk about how to prepare for the busy sales season, specifically the period around Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This is the most important time of year for many businesses. And in fact, Cyber Monday in 2020 was the biggest online shopping day in US history with over $10 billion spent. During this period, web infrastructure is going to see huge amounts of traffic, and there's a lot riding on your ability to deliver a smooth, reliable experience to your consumers while under heavy traffic load. It may seem like a long way away, but now is a great time to look at your e-commerce strategy so you can ensure you're ready for traffic spikes and take full advantage of consumer demand. It's a technical subject, but revenue is directly tied to web performance. So we wanted to take a look at how to improve web performance with a demonstration so you can see how the improvements can lead directly to revenue generation. In simple terms, we want to talk today about how you can use Varnish to do these three things. 1, improve bounce and conversion rates. 2, support e-commerce experiences on any device. And 3, manage traffic spikes and security risks. If you can guarantee low latency, responsive e-commerce experiences on any device and protect against traffic load and security threats, your success during sales season is assured. So how do we measure this success? We want to be able to show you how your hard work translates to better consumer experiences and more sales. One topic that is going to come up a lot is core web vitals. These are key metrics for understanding your web's overall user experience. There are different ways to measure your website's web vitals. One easy way is by using your Google Lighthouse, which built into Chrome and can easily generate a report to test web effectiveness. The 3 core web vitals are largest contentful paint, which is the time it takes to render the largest visible content in the client's browser window. First input delay, which is the time it takes to do something after an event is triggered. And cumulative layout shift, which measures visual stability, keeping content in the right place as the page loads, so clients don't have the annoying experience of buttons or links moving around. How important are these core web vitals for e-commerce websites? Well, let's take a look at some data from Google's own web dev site. NDTV were able to get a 50% lower bounce rate by improving their LCP score. Vodafone Italy generated 8% more sales just by improving LCP by 31%. iCook managed 10% more ad revenue by reducing layout shift. And these are easy fixes. With Varnish, you can actually achieve these results from the edge, so you don't need to modify any backend HTML. The huge improvements in revenue we can see here from simple adjustments to the core web vitals shows how big an impact web engineers and site reliability professionals can have on an overall company success. So it's no surprise that Bing research found that an engineer who improves server performance by 10 milliseconds more than pays for their salary. 10 milliseconds is a tiny amount compared to what's possible. But what we should probably talk about is what Varnish is and how it works before we get into how it can boost your online retail performance. I'd like to pass it over to Ish at this point to touch base on the Varnish basics. Ish?
Elise, thank you so much. So what is Varnish? Varnish is a software company that specializes in creating web acceleration, content delivery, and edge computing products. We specialize in making the web go fast. Varnish is about bringing responses from A to point B in milliseconds. And we do this through our caching technology. Essentially, we are bringing content closer to your end user. Let's take a deeper look at Varnish here. Varnish is a software-based, high-performance caching HTTP reverse proxy. This means that we run everywhere, virtually on any Linux flavor. We run on commercially off-the-shelf hardware, virtual machines, or Dockerized containers. We run in public clouds, your private cloud, or on-premise in your data center. We are considered best-in-class performance, which means we offer low latency, high throughput, high concurrency, and we are solution agnostic. We accelerate HTTP content by caching the content efficiently and serving cached content to multiple clients. We are a reverse proxy, which means we sit server side. We appear as an HTTP server and act as a proxy between the client and the real HTTP server. Next. So Varnish itself is composed of three major parts. The first part being our reverse proxy, our Varnish Enterprise, which is the core. On top of Varnish Enterprise, we have our own configuration language known as VCL, Varnish Configuration Language, a language that we have pioneered for over 10 years. Most environments, specific customization or programmatic logic can be accomplished using this extensive languaging called VCL. Next to VCL, on the right-hand side of this description, we also have what's called vMods. We call them virtual modules. They are pluggable modules implemented in C language that pretty much extend the feature core set of our product. Some examples of these extensions include the ability for GeoIP capturing. You can use our XMod vMod to manipulate the body of your payload, and we can integrate with third parties rather easily. One thing to note is that our company constantly provides and creates new vMods for the industry. Some of the capabilities VCL will grant you include request handling, request routing, response manipulation, backend selection, so you can select different origins. You can define the cache directives, so you can define the TTL in your cache. And we've been doing this for quite a while already. We do decision-making on the edge. In other words, you can execute computation at the edge using Varnish.
So during any critical sales period, you want your site visitors to stick around the page and make a purchase and not leave because of sluggish performance. There are risks involved with high traffic slowing your site down. As you can see on the left-hand side, adding additional seconds of page load time reduces the number of conversions you make, and more people end up leaving the page before converting. This can translate to a pretty large hit to revenue. But there's also a great opportunity here to boost revenue with minimal effort. Research has shown how revenue changes with page load speeds. And you can see on the right side how conversion rate creeps up with improvements to page speed. There are small percentages, sure, but you can see the difference it makes to revenue. Shall we take a look at how Varnish can improve bounce and conversion rates by boosting Core Web Vitals?
Let's do it. Let's go through that. Well, Varnish for Core Web Vitals. Our goals in this demonstration are to improve the time to first byte, reduce the time to generate the output of web pages, or in other words, WebAssembly, reduce page, image, and access size over the wire, make things smaller, and eliminate render blocking resources such as JavaScript that might get in the way. First, we're going to accomplish this by enabling Varnish caching. We will then enable compression. We will then enable our VMod that will convert images to WebP. We will defer blocking of JavaScript in the code. And we will also display or demonstrate how to inline specific CSS and SVG files. Simply, by enabling Varnish, you have out-of-the-box Varnish's great caching capabilities. By having the caching of objects and data closer to the end user, you naturally will reduce your time to first byte and improve your largest contentful paint. Some of the opportunities offered by the Lighthouse scoring tool in Chrome is to enable text compression. Here we have a description of how to enable the two different compression types within Varnish. Using some simple VCL code, we can enable and define content to be compressed using gzip, or even the newest compression scheme, which is Brotli. Another opportunity offered by the Lighthouse scoring tool is that you can serve the images in your website in next generation format. By using our Imagen VMod, you can take images such as this background PNG, which is natively at 7 megabits in size, and reduce it down to a very similar quality, and reduce it down to 12.9 kilobytes and serve that object at 5 milliseconds versus 179 milliseconds, a rather drastic increase in performance. Another opportunity is to eliminate render blocking resources. By deferring the blocking of JavaScript, essentially we can move the loading of the JavaScript down in the page. With our Xbody VMod, we are able to change the code and put in the defer keyword within the line so that we can essentially move the loading of these JavaScripts toward the bottom of the page. Here we have an example of how to accomplish that using the VCL. Using the Xbody VMod, we are able to define a 1 hour cache time and also substitute using regex the SRC with defer SRC. Another opportunity being offered is that the images are not explicitly defining the width and the height. This is another opportunity for us to further optimize this condition. Since these particular objects, main CSS and this image file SVG are all textual based, we can take the opportunity to utilize the body manipulation capabilities of varnish to inline these resources and serve them in a more efficient way. By leveraging ESI tags, we can ensure that these particular resources, in this case, the varnish software logo, which is an SVG, be deferred. And those particular objects be cached statically while the rest of the page can be dynamic. We can preserve these images in the cache, inline in cache, and avoid multiple round trips to capture those objects. Here we're describing that particular functionality. Once again, using the Xbody varnish module, we're able to take from within the code of the page and insert ESI code so that we can accomplish the inlining. By implementing these simple features using VCL code, we're taking a before and after screenshot of what we were able to accomplish. From a 7.4 megabyte transfer over the wire, we were able to reduce the same payload over to 123 kilobytes. And we went from 8.5 seconds to 65 milliseconds. This is a drastic improvement. And all of this while the developer not touching their code. You're just doing it through Varnish's VCL.
After implementing Varnish to improve Google Lighthouse score on an at-home luxury coffee and espresso machine seller website, the company saw impressive results, an overall improvement of 7x when it comes to site performance. They also saw a 67% improvement in speed index, 78% improvement in time to interact, and a 96% improvement in total blocking time. So we've taken a look at core Web Vitals metrics to ensure consumers complete their purchases and enjoy a reliable web experience. Let's also take a look at the next thing you can do to prepare for Black Friday. Make sure you can deliver a good experience for every device. It's obvious that mobile e-commerce is growing fast, projected to reach $700 billion in the US in 2025. So we need to be able to handle delivering web content depending on the device efficiently, tailoring each response to a unique user. Ish, how can Varnish handle mobile device direction and optimization?
Great question, Elise. Varnish at scale can detect all sorts of user agents, all sorts of devices, all sorts of iPhones, mobile devices, or TVs. It does not matter. Varnish software has developed a number of different mobile performance-oriented solutions, including Etstash and Parallel ESI, which supports speed in assembling and loading mobile web pages, even when those pages include a number of personalized fragments, specifically targeting your end user. This makes some of the most popular types of business content, e-commerce and media, for example, as well as types of content itself, whether images or video, a lot easier for mobile to manage, all of which is nothing but good news for retailers, media outlets, and video platforms out there.
So you've streamlined your e-commerce website and can deliver excellent experiences on any device. The next step to preparing your site for sales season is ensuring it's ready for the wave of traffic so that it stays online and reliable in the face of changing sky-high demand. Obviously, the risk is that traffic overloads your web servers and affects the user experience with degraded performance or even downtime, which we have seen can significantly reduce revenue and negatively impact your brand. One issue is that traditional solutions to these risks can themselves be costly. You can purchase more servers to deal with these irregular traffic spikes or run traffic through your commercial CDNs. Although, as Ish can explain now, this might not actually solve the problem.
Varnish has an excellent solution for protecting your origin from going down, whether it be because of malignant traffic or good traffic. And nowadays setup, most environments have utilized thousands or hundreds of pops, depending on who they're using. By placing varnish in front of the origin in a properly sized configuration, we can achieve the ability to absorb a lot of this traffic, from whether the traffic be from CDNs, from an onslaught of positive traffic, because maybe an object or a piece of e-commerce property might be popular. What we can do is using varnish shields that will break down those connections. And ultimately, we can take millions of requests and through the varnish origin shield, break them down and collapse them to much smaller requests, essentially reducing the egress cost and at the same time taking the brunt of the traffic so your origin does not go down. This in itself also acts as a natural DDoS protection shield. So you're covered in case you get popular, or you're covered in case you get attacked.
Varnish also contains functionality for preventing traffic spikes from DDoS attacks, which can strike at the worst moments, such as critical sales periods. Ish, do you want to talk us through some of the other relevant security features in Varnish and how they relate to e-commerce operations?
Absolutely. Many of the features within Varnish are very security focused and security related, and it's good that we talk about them. To begin with, Varnish Enterprise provides end-to-end SSL connectivity, which means that from the beginning of the end user, the connection will be encrypted all the way through our middle tier edge and all the way back to the origin. So our inline SSL processing allows for this. So this is one of the advantages. No need for another SSL terminator in front of us. Also, from the client side, we also offer mutual TLS, also known as client-side TLS. So your users or your end devices can have a certificate, and we can work with that. You are also able to modify the TLS cipher and the protocols associated with SSL. Perhaps you need to comply with PCI level requirements, which require TLS cipher of having SSL 1.2 or above. We can manage this at the client level. More in the middle of our layering here, we also offer the ability to encrypt the data that's in cache, data at rest encryption. So in case that's a requirement, the data can be secured on the machine. We also offer tokenization capabilities, so you can prevent the hot linking of critical data. We can also block by DOIP. We can detect bots and block that malignant traffic. We also have a rich set of ACLs that can control the access of traffic from specific IPs, from CIDR blocks or ASMs. We can also offer the ability to monitor in real time the traffic and inspect it. Over on the origin side of our setup here, we also offer a built-in web application firewall that is mod security based, so you can fend off those top 10 threats. As mentioned prior, we are a natural DDoS protection at layer 3 and 4 and layer 7. Within Varnish itself, we are also an Origin Shield. So if you're using Origin Shield with another provider, perhaps you can complement that Origin Shield using Varnish and saving cost. We also offer rate limiting capabilities at this layer, and we can also block requests using the header or cookies or whatever you have you.
So let's take a look at this in a real setting. This is from a leading international beauty retailer who implemented Varnish as an Origin Shield, which was crucial when one of their servers went down for 4 hours during Black Friday weekend. They experienced a 500% increase in web traffic, but experienced no revenue loss as Varnish was able to keep their site up and running while they fixed the issue on the back end. Now that we've taken a look through the 3 ways you can prepare for your site for Black Friday and the holiday season, let's hear what questions you have for us. So I am going to take a look at the chat, and we have a few that have come in. So, Ish, do you have a trial available for varnish as an Origin Shield?
Yes, absolutely. We can make this happen. Not a problem. It's very common that our customers ask for trials of their software, and we can definitely hold you by the hand and show you how to install and guide you through the effectiveness of protecting your site using our product.
Great. Looks like another question we have are these features available on Varnish Cash or just the enterprise product?
There's a lot of features that are present within the enterprise product that are geared so that an enterprise can properly keep monitoring of their varnish installs, be able to orchestrate the deployment of VCL across several varnish instances, and also the built-in SSL functionality are distinctive features between both products. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with anyone that wants to discuss this further.
Great. Can I do a before and after test of varnish on my site to see how my Lighthouse score will be affected?
Oh, yes. In fact, this is a common procedure that we do with customers. We want to show you the effectiveness of our product, and we do this by showing you the Lighthouse before and after scoring.
Great. All right. Well, I think that is all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone who joined us for this webinar session. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Varnish directly. And we look forward to seeing all of your Black Friday sales. Thanks so much.